Royal Chapel of Versailles. So to explain to you, the building of Versailles during, like the work for the building of Versailles during 30 years during the reign of Louis XIV. So it's begun in the 60s of the 17th century and it's quite finished in the 90s of the 17th century, the beginning of the 18th century. So here it is the fifth and last chapel. Also during this reign of 72 years, Louis XIV decided to install several chapels here in the chateau, but not the last one, but just the second last one was made at the place of the Hercules Salon, the Salon d'Hercule. And this is where Louis XIV is known the more, this second last one chapel, because this chapel was made in 1682. And 1682 is very important because this is the year where Louis XIV installed here the power and the court in Versailles. So we are in the chateau in place works for the buildings, and the court people are there like, oh, we smell the paint and the gold is very, very uncomfortable. So imagine here you have 10,000 people lives here in the chateau, 10,000 people. And this is the last one, the last chapel built between 1699 and 1710. And Louis XIV didn't take the time to to making masses because he died in 1715. And the chapel was finished in 1710, so he didn't pass a great time here, but you can imagine all the day at 10 a.m. the king was on the first floor here. Yes, so the first floor, this is the royal tribune where the king appears at the 10 a.m. and it's quite interesting because you have this magnificent painting on the ceiling, magnificent painting, and you have three artists for this artistic creation. So Jean Jouvenet here, Noël Coppel at the center, and Charles de la Fosse when you see the altar and you have an eye, you have Charles de la Fosse. And if you have an eye on the ceiling, you can see, oh, it's quite the same as the ceiling of the Sixtine Chapel in Rome.
Sì, la Cappella Sistina.
Yes,
meravigliosa.
yes. So you see, you can find the same ceiling, but you have the same artistic project. So here this is the Trinity, the Holy Trinity. So the Spirit, the Son, and the Father. So if you see the first painting, when you see the royal tribune, you see the first painting, and this is the Pentecost. The Pentecost. Yes. So Pentecost, realizing by Jean Jouvenet, creating by Jean Jouvenet. And so you see, imagine the king arrived at the 10 p.m. and you see the holy dove. It's just above the head of the king. So this is a great symbol for the people who see the king arriving. And it means the king have his power from God, and you don't have any separation through the spiritual power, like the power of the papacy in Rome and the royal power here in France. This is the same, okay? So it's because you don't have any walls, because in the ancient times in France, you have walls separating the sacred part and the part where the people assist to the mass, okay? So you have just a separating wall for the great organ of the chapel, because only the king can see and hear the music making for God, okay? And so you have here the Pentecost at the center. You have the God the Father in his glory, making by Noël Coppel. And after that, you have the resurrection of the Christ, making by Charles de la Fosse. So this is representing the Trinity of the divine, of the holy power of the King. And you found here on the altar this magnificent decoration in gold and bronze. You see the light of the God, and you see the triangle, the holy triangle with the name of the God writing in Hebrew. Yahweh. Okay, and yes, now you see you have the double L's of the king just in front of the altar, and you see the crown was completely broke because the revolutionaries was to broke the lily flowers. So they broke the crown, and at the first floor you have a wall with sunflowers and lily, and all the lily have was broken during the revolution. And you can imagine here the young Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette was being married here. And during the wedding ceremony, the young Marie Antoinette, she was 14 years old and Louis XVI only 15. And she was, I think she was very emotional about her wedding with Louis XVI. So when she got to sign the wedding book, she makes some ink drops. And the people see the ink drops like a bad news. Yeah, yeah. And so, and the people still like that. And unfortunately, we know the story, but during the wedding ceremony and the wedding feast, Louis XV decides to creating a great firework on the Champ de Mars, you know, where you have the Tour Eiffel today. And so people assist to the fireworks, but one of the fireworks explode, but too close to the floor, and so the firework, this fire, afraid people, and so people backing up, and they run, and so a lot of be injured, and someone died during this backup. So Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette decided to give money for the family from their own pocket. Yes, yes. So it's quite impressive. So the wedding ceremony of Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette, and this is the last word. So this is the end.